Took off. Well, I was on the floor.
Good evening, you wild and crazy bunch.
That's your dad.
It's amazing what
Both shoulders just
Very
really
wild,
slap up.
untamable.
grandma now is.
All right, Brother Gary, mind leading us in a word of prayer?
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day to be in your house and worship and praise your name, Lord, and praise you. And we just love you, Lord. We pray that you'll be with us through this week. And we pray that you'll be with these young adults that have been to camp and be with them as they give their testimony. We thank you, Lord, for all that you do. These things I ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen, bro. Y'all grab your brown hymnal, turn to page 160.
Here you go.
Page 160, we'll sing the first, second, fourth verse of the Promised Land, and y'all be thinking of a testimony or shout of hallelujah if you'd like to share.
It's been a journey for us and our family over the last month. But I want to say thank you so much for all the prayers and all of the support and the love that we got a month ago when everything happened with Martin. And, you know, God is an amazing God. He is such an amazing God.
Amen.
And we got to go back about a week or so ago to the emergency room and to see the nurse who worked on Martin. She ain't been this tall. I mean, she's just this little bitty thing, but she wouldn't give up. And, you know, just to be able to go back and to say thank you and express your love and your thankfulness to someone who worked on your loved one. But, you know, in the midst of all of that was going on, she said it to me, and so did the doctor. They could not believe how calm I could be in that whole situation. You know, to watch CPR being done on your loved one, it's tough. But in those moments, I just kept thinking, if he's not going to survive this, I'm going to be okay. God's got this whole situation.
Amen.
It's time for Mark to go. It's time for him to go. And it'll be okay. There was a peace that was there in the midst of all of that. And even when they took him by helicopter to the hospital in Texarkana and to sit with him for the next 24 hours as he was on an incubator and watch and see, there was a peace that was there. And that's only the peace that can come from the Father.
Amen.
You know, and then to watch just one miracle after the next after the next. When it started working, it started working. You know, when God moves, He moves, and He doesn't hesitate. And Mark went back to work Thursday. That's where he is tonight. He's back at work. He's doing what he does normally. We've been fighting with his blood sugars for over a year. For over a year, they've been running 400 or 500, and they're running 80, 90, 100. That's Jesus.
Amen.
That is Jesus.
Amen.
God, the doctors can give you all kinds of medicine. They can do all this stuff. But Jesus is the one. But God. But God. And I sat at a funeral yesterday of a young man that's under my care at school. He's fixing to turn 18 years old and just passed away to sleep. And as that preacher got up and shared the message yesterday, he said, sorrow may come for today, but God is there tomorrow. And He is the same God yesterday. He is the same God today. And He is the same God who will be there with you in your sorrow, in your joy.
Amen.
But God was there. He brought us through. And I just am so thankful for the prayers and the help and everything from this church. The support and the love that we received. It was just a huge outpouring. I just could not believe everybody that was there and that called and that texted and that, was there in and out every day. I tell y'all, thank you so much. It just means the world to us.
Amen. Thank you.
John, I want to say, I just don't know how anybody that didn't have a church family and something, you lose a loved one, I don't know how they would make it. I just can't imagine. I just love all of you and thank you so much on everything that y'all done for my mother. Just appreciate it.
All right, we'll get y'all to turn to page 131. Page 131, we'll sing the first, second, and fourth verse of "Oh How I Love You."
traveling Gracie. We went to see Hayden for his birthday, and it's a long way down there and a long way back. But I'm really thankful the Lord was with us. We had no trouble whatsoever. So I just want to thank God for his traveling graces, for answering prayer.
I thought I heard somebody.
It was me,
Was
but you
somebody
can
else?
go.
Well, I want to say I love the Lord. And,
Amen, brother.
and also, you know, we think that there's not as many Christians in the country and all that. You see so much bad going on in the country and everything. And I go into a lot of offices and I see crosses on the wall, I see Bibles on the desk and stuff like that. And Vicki and I, we were traveling and we was in Tennessee and we were coming through a little town, you know, and we decided to go to, it's a place called Kathy's Kitchen. We had never been there, nobody ever told us about it. We saw the sign, went there. When we walked in, there was a Christian sign on the wall, and there was a big chart, a prayer list in there. You know, there's Christians out there.
Amen, brother.
And a lot more than what we realize, and probably, you know. But anyway, I think it's a good thing when we see that kind of stuff. It made us feel good anyway.
Yeah.
Amen.
Alright, for a while now, I've probably been hiding anger from somebody that's really close to me. If y'all didn't know, my grandpa's in the nursing home. He doesn't have either one of his legs, and I've been mad at him because he put himself in a situation. And it's kind of hard to watch somebody you took care of and who's living with you go through something like that. But while we were at church camp, I forgave him, and I went to go see him today, and I gave him his Father's Day stuff because I've been busy with work. And just to see him smiling and being happy where he is right now makes me happy.
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Praise the Lord.
Okay, well, page 62, last song. We'll sing the first, second, and fourth verse of I Love to Tell the Story.
Jesus and his love.
sermon. I really
Amen.
thought it was really good. I didn't know that he was born dead and fell in a well, and of course I knew he fell out. I think Brother Gary was still here. You would have been
to a cat. Got 9 lives.
got 6 left.
Oh, Lord, don't tell him that.
Brother, I don't want to add anything to that, but I want to tell y'all a little story. I have a lot of time at home, read the Bible and pray, think about what I can do, how the Lord could stir me up to do more than I'm doing, which would take a whole lot, to be a lot more. But it would be last Friday, at work, a lady came by me, and I could tell the anxiety in her eyes and upset. I thought, oh Lord, she's got a sick relative up here. Somebody real close to her, probably in danger of not living or whatever. All that flooded her head and her mind. And I said, ma'am, is there anything I can do for you? And she said, yes, sir. Can you help me find my car keys? And I thought, well, that wasn't half as bad as I thought it was going to be. I said, yes, ma'am, I'll be glad to start looking for your car keys. She said, oh, God, I'm in so much trouble. And I said, well, let me go look. And it's just like the Lord put a bird dog on me and said, they're right here. And I went right straight to them. I'm not kidding. I went out there and I didn't even have an idea what kind of car she was in. I had no idea. She just said, my keys are somewhere out there because they're not in my car. And I said all that to say that in all those times of praying and seeking the Lord and asking Him to lead me, He always says, don't be afraid of what you're going to say. Trust me. I'll find the words. And that's the way we've got to approach situations like this. I found that lady's keys and brought them back up there and gave them to her. And she said, Mister, I have just been praying that God would send somebody to help me with it. And you can't imagine how good it made me feel. I don't say that for me. I'm saying that God, in the simplest ways, will help us help other people if we'll just let Him. All we got to do is plant seed. He can do the rest of it.
Amen.
And that lady was just, you'd have thought I'd really done something great. Of course, I was just laughing, joking about it when I ran into another guy. And he said, boy, that don't happen very much. I said, I know. But anyway, I'm just telling you, listen to that small, still voice that tells you. Just tell that person Jesus loves them. Just tell that person that it's going to get better. You don't have to go into a sermon like a pastor does, which I really appreciate. All you got to do is just tell them God loves you and see what your reaction is. I promise you, their eyes will get that big because somebody else loves the Lord. That's it. That's it.
Y'all know that my house is full. And we had kind of a wreck yesterday. And I just been praying for my temper for a long time. And I went to the bedroom and I sat there. Listened to him this morning. I called a family meeting and everybody's sitting there just waiting to get their heads ripped off. And I said, I just want y'all to know I love you. I just turned around, went back in the bedroom, and it scared me. And so she came in there and she says, what's wrong? You know? And I said, nothing's wrong. I said, I have just got to get this peace in my heart.
Amen.
And fix this temper that I've had all my life. But Brother Gary hit it on the head. Sunday school teacher, boy, I'll tell you, he started driving the nail, and Brother Gary just finished it off. But like I say, I've been praying for a long time because it's hard. There's 6 different families in my house if you just cut them up. And it's, there's a wreck fixing to happen, but I think we got on the right road just today. And prayers help, and then I see them answered,
Amen.
especially in me.
All
That's
right.
it.
We all need it.
Does anybody have anything else to add to that?
Well, first I want to say before I get into the camp deal is that, you know, I joined the Gideons over about 6 months ago, and I've been fortunate to be able to go into a couple of different churches and be able to witness their situations they're in. And unfortunately, some of the churches I've been in, the numbers are very, very low. And I just want you guys to know, from the laughing to the crying in here today, we are so fortunate. You just don't realize it. We are so fortunate to be able to come to a place like this and worship the Lord. Be able to come in here and be able to, you know, get somebody to hold them and cry on the shoulder, or have somebody to pray with them, share laughter. I mean, that's what church is about. And like I said, I've been in a couple of churches, going out visiting, talking with them, to spread the word as far as, you know, passing out the Bibles, to preach a couple of times, stuff like that. But we are truly a very, very fortunate church. I mean, this church was almost packed this morning. Look at it tonight. I know a lot of guys are here to support the youth, and that's amazing. You guys, you know, y'all came through church camp. I mean, we got kids here that some of them don't have money to go. And it's very important we raise money so these guys can get there, so they can come back and tell you how they've grown over that week that we was there.
Amen.
So we thank each one of you guys so much for supporting the youth through the food fundraisers and stuff like that. We're able to get all the kids there. And just the prayers, hey, that makes a world of difference in all of our lives. And I just thank you, church, so much for being who you are and for doing your role as being a member of God's kingdom. I thank y'all so much for that.
Amen.
I told Pastor Gary when I got back to church camp parking lot, I had something I wanted to say about the church. And when you go out to other churches, we take a lot of stuff for granted. You know, we come in, we get to see people, we shake hands, we hug, we laugh, we cry. Some other churches I've been into, it's very, very small. It's kind of like what Pastor Gary came into when he came in this church, 4, 5, 6 people. And it's not that the word's not being preached there. It's not that, you know, they're not praying and wanting, but people just not coming to those churches. And so we are very, very fortunate. And like I said, it takes all of us. And it takes one mighty God that we have that we serve. And I just thank you guys very, very much. Church camp, I'll tell you, I think I came back with a few less hairs on my head. I know I lost some weight because it was hot and it was very stinky this time. I didn't remember that bad from last year, but we were fortunate to be able to go this year. We did do something different this year. We went over a weekend, which we normally go during the week, which worked out good for mine and Carrie's schedule. But it was a different camp. You know, last year and the year prior, we went during the week, so a lot of kids, they knew a lot of other kids that went during that same period of time. And us going over the weekend, generally those years, a new group comes in. So these guys got to see a lot of new faces they hadn't seen. But one thing about it is that we did have a speaker that came back, Tiny. He was back this year. And so they related to him 2 years ago. So that was pretty awesome there. And you know, anybody that has the name Tiny, you can assure that he's not going to be tiny. He's not. I mean, he's probably 6'4", he's over 300 pounds easy. He's got a head that's probably that big too. So he can get your attention and he can speak to those kids. He's got good messages. And like I said, the Lord was definitely there through his speaking and stuff. And I think he's really, really connected with the kids. But just kind of an overview of what camp was. You know, the first day we get there, it's kind of chaotic. You know, we find our cabin. We inspect the cabin, we go and go, man, look at this cabin we got to stay in for a week. You know, it's bunk beds, you know, everybody's kind of fighting over if they're going to get the top bunk, the bottom bunk, and they check the bathrooms out, the showers to see what's all in there and all good. And make sure the air conditioning is working. That's the very first thing I think people check out is the air conditioner. You know, say, well, it's cool, you know. But we were fortunate. But this year here, we did stay on the top of the hill. You know, most of you guys, if you don't know the area at Lone Star, it is very hilly. it's like small mountains there pretty much. You got a big lake there and all that. We were on top of the hill, so we had to walk downhill to get to everything. And then once we got to everything, we had to walk back up to get back down. And last year, recreation time, we didn't have a lot of participation. So this year, they put us in a cabin that was right at the recreation field. So we couldn't miss recreation because we was right there. But this year here, recreation is games. It's where all the colors come together. They got colors. They set us in groups of different colors. It might be orange, red, yellow, green, purple. And what that does is it kind of gets us in a group with other churches there, so we can kind of work together as a team and do teamwork and that kind of thing, and encourage each other to do things, to win games and that kind of thing. And also they involve a spirit type thing where you go out and you yell and you chant, and whoever's the loudest, they get either a toilet seat or they get a plunger. That's the big prize that everybody's so comically wanting, is a toilet seat and a plunger. I've never understood why they want that. It's a big deal with some churches. They want that toilet seat, they want that plunger. So, that being said, the second day actually, after we got together, got everything situated, first day's usually fairly short. We get there right around lunch. Get everybody in, we go to orientation. Everybody learns the do's and don'ts of church camp. And then after that, we go to a celebration, and then we go eat pretty much for dinner that night. And then we have quiet time where we go to games and snack shack pretty much. First day is just kind of get everybody there, get them together, and get acquainted with the camp pretty much. Second day, it's on pretty much. You get up, kids run out of the cabin at 6 o'clock trying to get down to the line to eat first, because first in line is first one served pretty much. Food-wise, if your kid goes hungry at camp, it's their fault, because they feed those kids a tremendous amount of food, and it's pretty much self-serve, so they can get piled as much as they want to on the plate, and after the line's down, if there's more left, they can go back and get more to eat. So food there is awesome, pretty much. And also, the first day we were there, it was pretty hot, of course, and we went to recreation, and our first games were swimming in the swimming pool. And after that, we went to another water game where we actually took tubes and we formed a line. And at the end, the guy had to get a bucket of port and fill up another bucket. So each guy had a tube. They had to form a line with the tube, so the water that's poured in would actually work all the way to the end bucket to fill the bucket up. So we won that game twice, our church did. We got good teamwork. That was awesome, But also when we went to the celebration that day, we had a band there. It's called Bonneray. And they were new from last year, of course, but they were actually from Tennessee. It was a family band. It was 3 brothers and 1 sister. And they played a lot of the worship music and stuff, the cover type music you hear on the radio and stuff like that. And they was kind of disconnected from it a lot, and you just really couldn't feel some of their music they had playing to get really into the spirit. But as the time went on, I think people opened up to it more, and they connected with the music a little more by the end of the day. Did y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, some of them did, some of them didn't. But that's just part of camp, you go to a big band one year, they was really good, they connected with the kids. This year here, the music was good, but they didn't connect with it as well as they did last year. But don't get me wrong, they were still good, they were just a little bit different. But then we also had in entertainment, we had a ventriloquist there. And he played with dolls and pigs that he had made pretty much on his hands, and talking and making noises and all that stuff. So that was pretty interesting. It captured the moment of them being able to just kind of let loose, to laugh a little bit, because a lot of times during these camps, the messages and stuff like that, they're directly to the kids, and it brings up a lot of deep, things that kids might be going through and that sort. So it's good a little bit to break it up, get them laughing and get them smiling and get them, that kind of thing. So that was really neat. Also during the day, we had 2 times where we met together as camp counselors, me, Jeremiah, and Carrie. It was quiet time, and there was another time of prayer time. And this year we had to share a building with another group that was there, so we kind of alternated. So they were in the room, and then when they were in the room, we were out of the room. That way we could connect as a group and talk and speak, and our kids could open up. A lot of times you get another group in there, it's loud, kids aren't just going to open up to each other. But we worked it out that way, and like I said, it worked out real, real well. A lot of our kids, they really opened up to us. Day 1, it's really quiet during that. We had to kind of probe them, ask questions, and pick at them and make them answer stuff. But as camp went on, they really opened up about a lot of different things that they were talking about. Tiny, he was, you know, our message this over it was Micah 6:8. Basically, was the scripture there, and it was love justly, mercy, and walk, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly. That's what it was basically over during camp. So you know, you think about loving justly, do justly. I mean, that's a big thing for us to do as Christians. I mean, we have to do justice. That's what the Lord does. I mean, he led and walked the earth as an example, and he strived to do the right thing in all situations. And I think that was a good topic for these kids because the world we live in today is so distraught. You don't see justice in just about anything we're involved with nowadays. And so that was a big deal there to learn to do the right thing in the situations that you're in. And you know, some people's not in the perfect situation, even at home, you know, home life. But do the right thing. And that's what they learned and all that was there. To love mercy. Our Father. He's the most merciful guy that ever walked the earth. And as Christians, we need to show that same mercy to those that do us wrong. Whether it's in the church, out of the church, in the home, is at school, no matter. We've got to show mercy. Jesus Christ showed that to us. He shows it to us daily. You just think about all the mercy we've been given.
Amen.
So that was a very big subject there that went very well in talks and prayer time and quiet time and stuff like that. And also to walk humbly. How much pride do we have in this room? A bunch. We all do. We're prideful people. We're humans. But to walk humbly, that's what Jesus did. And that's what we have to do. And these kids that week during camp, they learn to walk a lot more humbly. And one thing about camp is, you know, we get there, we got all the energy, we got the kids there, they're all on cloud nine, they're opening up to each other, they're praying, they're singing music, they're each week they're going through talks and learning more about the Lord. But I always say, what about the day when you go home? These kids connected. They have every year at camp. They've gotten closer, they've bonded. But what are you going to do when you go home, when you get away from that atmosphere that you're in? What are you going to do? You're going to split ways? You're going to stay connected? Because folks, just like a church, it takes all of us.
Amen.
It's not just one of us. It's not just Pastor Gary. It's not the deacons of the church. It's not just the prayer warriors. It's all of us. And that's what we try to talk to these kids about. Stay connected. Stay together. Be one. Serve the Lord. Walk humbly. Love mercy. Do justice. That's what we talk about. But these kids, they opened up, they grew. I seen each one of them. You know, from being, like I said earlier, being very shy to open up and talk. And by the second night, people's hearts were being tenderized. I call it tenderized. They was hard. They just going through the meat grinder. You know what I'm saying? They getting tender. You know, and each night they got a little bit more tender. The hardness, the shell that they had when they come in was slowly just kind of popping off. And these kids, they opened up. They talked a lot to each other. A lot of tears, a lot of hugging, and a lot of confiding in each other. And that's what camp's about. And I'm going to open it up now to let some of these kids share their testimonies of what they learned during camp and how their hearts might have been changed during that time. So I'm not calling names or people, just when you feel led to come up and speak. All right?
Go, Abby, go.
Okay, so I wrote it on my phone because I don't remember stuff very well. And sorry about my voice, I lost it last week. So he talked about it a minute ago. The theme verse at church camp was, "He has shown you, oh man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, except to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." Micah 6:8. We went into detail about this verse, and we are applying it to our lives now. We had so much fun focusing on the Lord, and we were open to whatever He wanted us to do. We walked in the dorm, and we were like, okay, well, hopefully we won't have to share it with any other girls, and God, we just hope that we don't have to share it, because the dorms are really small. And we walked in there, and the dorm, y'all, it was bad, like cramped in there. Like we were all like super tight in there. And then we were like, man, if we have to share it with other girls, and this is gonna be bad. Well, next thing we know, there's 4 other girls walking in there, and we're like, okay, this kind of is not good. And then these little girls, they were in middle school, and then one of them, her name was Kylie, and she was so sweet. But these other 2 girls were so mean to her, and we just opened ourselves up to her, and we just showed her kindness. And we're like sitting next to each other, and I looked down, and she was writing in her book, and I was like, what is she doing? And so I accidentally looked over there, and she was writing in this little diary, because you know when you're a young girl, you're like, I gotta write everything down in this diary. So I looked in there, and she said, I made new friends today, and they're on the orange team, which was what team we were on. And she said, they were very nice to me and walked in the dark with me so I wouldn't be scared. And so being nice to this little girl, we were able to open her heart up and to let her know that we were there for her, and those little girls didn't really matter. And she was able to just open up and experience what God wanted her to experience. So what I learned from that was that you should be always kind to others, no matter what their situation is, because you never know what they're really going through. That week we experienced so much love and emotions from sharing testimonies, which wouldn't have been possible without all the donations from the loving people from this church. I thank you and God for making this church camp possible.
Okay, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because I don't really know what to say, but I feel like we all did connect way better than we were before. We all bonded a lot more. We all opened up to each other and shared some experiences that we all had went through that weren't always the best. And I just want to say thank you for everybody that donated to help us get to church camp.
Randy, you may have to start calling names.
They're gonna get up. I got it.
Kenneth, Isaac, and Hunter. And Eric, which I'm reading for her.
Okay. Well, church camp was really good, even though it was short, which sucked, but it was good. It was really good. Y'all may not. I'm not good at publicly speaking because I laugh a lot. So, well, church camp was really good. The first night, the first day we got there was really hot in the cabin. Our cabin was not that great, but it was a roof over our head. Thank you guys for donating. But the first night was good. Tiny made us tear up, made me tear up. But second night shed a tear. And I, got to know some of the girls better that night. And then I think the third night, Dad did. Tiny definitely got to me. And so I decided that I was like, I'm gonna rededicate my life to God. And because the past 2 years, I think, year and a half to 2 years, my life has been poop. Just horrible. It's had its good times, but it's had more bad times. And y'all have been here for me more than anybody that I could call my best friend, besides Jessica. But thank you.
Amen.
Lucy, you
say. The first week I went, it was a lot different than what the last years were. I don't know what to say. I don't know where I was going with that. The second week went by really fast. During the free time that we had, I felt really tired, so I slept most of the time. With me going the first week and being able to go back to the second week, I heard everything again twice. And I paid more attention during the worship and got more of the message. I started taking a lot more notes than what I did the first week, and I found some connections in the Bible. What were those verses? Genesis 3 something. I can't remember what the verses were. God was cursing Satan at the beginning of Genesis. He said, he will strike his heel and he will step on your head. It says that later on in the Bible, back in, I forgot what verse it was. But it says that man will be doing it. And I remembered a different part earlier on. I forgot the verse of that one too. It said that we will have greater works than what Jesus did. And that's not because that we're going to do greater than him. It's because God's going to give us the ability to go out and do things like what Jesus did. And that we'll have the same power as Jesus had through God.
Amen.
Okay, I had to write mine down so I'd remember everything to say. But this year was my last year to go to church camp, and I had a lot of fun, and I was really glad that I was able to go and be with all the same girls, and I'm going to miss them next year. And I'm really happy that I got to go the past 3 years. So obviously, the theme was simply, and it was the verse Micah 6:8, and I got to learn a lot about that verse and learn the importance of it, to live your life simply with God and to use those 3 things. And then during the worship each night, we learned a lot of new verses, and a few of my favorite ones were Romans 16, 19 through 20, and it says, "Everyone has heard about your obedience, so I rejoice because of you. But I want you to be wise about what is good and innocent about what is evil. The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet."
There you go.
Yeah. This verse showed me that we can become bigger than our enemy and crush the devil under our feet when we choose to be obedient to God's word and when we listen to what the Holy Spirit is telling us to do. Another verse that we talked about was Matthew 27, 50 through 54, and this isn't the full thing, this is just like paraphrase. And it's, Jesus cried out with a loud voice. He gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain was torn from top to bottom. At that moment, everyone thought that the enemy was winning. But when Jesus cried out, heaven and earth collided. The veil that separated God and man was torn, rocks broke, and tombs raised. This happened so that we can cry out to God and feel his presence. Our God defeated the enemy, and death has no authority over us because of what Jesus did. Darkness runs from light like the devil runs from God. The collision came so salvation, forgiveness, peace, light, and joy, and for us to see that God is with you forever. Because when you're with God, you have everything he is.
So, for the people that know me well, which not many people do, I don't pay attention to anything. And for the past few weeks, I forgot about this. And everyone else go, and I don't want to look bad for not going. So, I decided to pay attention in a few things that I did pay attention to. I'm bad at public speaking. So, Tiny said he was doing a story over how it was a place, I forgot the name of it. He said it was a Mexican restaurant doing a steak and that. And every time his parents would go out to eat at it, or go out to eat with him and his siblings, which were younger than him, didn't have their teeth yet. He would always ask them if they can go to the cow, because they had a cow outside of it. That was a ceramic cow, I do believe. They would always say no. And so he got in the habit every time they went out, and he would ask them, and they would say no. But one day it was just him and his parents, and they asked him, they said yes. And he went on and he was like, is this a prank? And they went in there and they had the food and that, and he came back and he asked his parents, why did they never go to that before with him? And they said, the time wasn't right. Your brothers and sisters don't have teeth. Can't eat steak without teeth. And I realized God does everything on his schedule, not yours. That's what I got to say.
Amen.
Anybody else? I'll read Erica's.
Don't read all of it.
Okay, I'll paraphrase. Erica's not able to be with us tonight, but she sent me a message to say, I'm sorry I'm not able to make it, but I just want to say thank you to everyone that helped us go to church camp and all that prayed for us while we were there. It was yet again an amazing week with all the youth, Randy, Carey, and Jeremiah. It was fun meeting new people, doing really awesome at rec, and also in basketball when Sissy Gal, who is Casey, when she decided to play. Y'all, they were the only two girls playing with all the boys, okay? It was pretty awesome. Because they were like, so it was really neat. So, and worshiping and experiencing how great God is with kids our age that go through some of the same things we all go through. But the best thing, all caps, was seeing everyone stand up who accepted Jesus Christ into their heart or rededicated their life to Him. It was a great week, and I can't wait till next year. I love all of you. Erica.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay, for most of y'all might know me. I'm not the kind of person that likes to talk to people I don't know. So it was kind of weird, but I made 4 new friends at church camp. And for me, that's kind of like a big deal because I don't like talking to people. I mean, I could talk to Lily and everybody that went with us, but I don't like new people. I can tolerate some people, but I'm surprised that I made new friends. The first one would probably be Tylee. She was such a sweet little girl. I mean, she was picked on by the 2 other girls that were in the cabin with us. They were mistreating her, and one of them was her own sister. I mean, I go through that with Destiny all the time. But it was at church camp. You're supposed to. I don't need that much. Hush. But just to see it happen at church camp when you're supposed to connect with everybody and to show love. And like it says, love mercy. You're supposed to show them mercy. And I guess that's what we did with Kylie. The other 3 were guys, and normally I make more friends with guys because girls cause a lot of drama.
Amen, sister.
But one of them just kept on looking at us weird every night, and we called him, I guess, a stalker because he kept staring at us all the time. But he thought that I was the one stalking him, but it's whatever. But I got to talk to him while they were doing their tournaments during a football game, and I got to know him and his friends better, and we just kind of chilled and hang out with them the last full day of church camp. One of them I met, he was 18 and he was going into the Marines in a few weeks after church camp. I felt kind of bad because the second night we were there, I pushed everybody away because I was fighting with, I need to forgive people, I need to learn how to forgive and do it better. And I cried that night and I forgave a few people in my life that I don't want to talk about right now. But I forgave a few people in my life who I've done wrong and they've done me wrong. And I didn't talk to anybody that night. I just went to the cabin and went to sleep. And I saw him the next morning. He said, "You stood me up, but I'm kind of used to it by now." I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I've just been through a lot last night. I didn't want to talk to anybody." But I still talk to everybody on a daily basis. And it's cool that I made a new family in Christ in just a few days.
Well, in a nutshell, that's kind of what we did at church camp. But one thing I want to say is Jeremiah, he was a great help.
Amen, brother.
I mean, this is 2 years in a row he's went, and like I said, he's helped us out tremendously while he was there, helping round the kids together, saying prayers and speaking what's on his mind, and that way they got somebody else to talk to learn on, and besides just me and Kerry all the time. I mean, y'all know my voice is very monotone. I'm not the best up and down speaker there is, but sometimes I feel like they get bored listening to me, but they are kids too. I understand how their minds can go one way to the next, and the next, and the next. I understand that. But one thing else I want to talk about is the third day it rained all day long. We were there, and with it being wet, we was a little bit tighter knit group because we had to do things indoors and stuff like that. And you know, the tighter knit doors you are with people, when everybody's wet, the more smells. And it gets very, very rank. The next day our cabin, you know, we shared a cabin with, we had the same size cabin as girls did. We had about, 6 other boys in our room, and they were younger than us, of course, but they were rank. I mean, and they weren't the cleanest either. I mean, I had a church camp shirt, but the kid needed it because his shirt he had wore, you could pick it up and it was like a book. I mean, it was steel, you know, and I said, "Here, just take this shirt, let the shirt leave," you know. But I never seen that. And I did have a cap too, and I let one of our kids wear a cap, and you know, after I smelled it, after he went by me 3 or 4 times, I would just keep that cap, you know. That's just a sacrifice I made with the clothes and the cap, and it was worth it, you know. But camp, I mean, you know, it's a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, but the main thing about it is these kids, they really connected with the Lord when we were there. It was a growing experience for them. It was a growing experience for us 3 counselors. And, you know, the last day is kind of hurry up, rush, get out of here. We got another group coming in. They've got to get cabins clean and that kind of thing. But even on the way back home, you know, you could hear the joy in the back seat of the truck, kids talking about camp and what they learned and, you know, what they're going to do when they get home. And it's just, you know, it's just one of those things that's kind of in the moment. You got to be there to kind of understand it and be able to enjoy every little thing. Don't get me wrong, I was kind of glad it was over with. Had a little bit too. But I would never trade anything for the time that I spent there with those kids those 4 or 5 days, because it was definitely worth it. I grew for sure. I think we all grew, even counselors there, you know. And the staff there, they were very nice. They was generous with their time. When something, you know, when the devil threw the rain in the mix, they had all these plans. Well, they just went a different route. So everything was worked out really well. The kids never noticed anything. It was just push them over in the corner. It's raining. We can't do anything with them. They had something else figured out for us to do. But Jeremiah, you got anything you want to say about camp? Okay. Yeah, we've got a video here that Jeremiah put together for us, and we'd like you guys to see some of the moments while we were there in action, and see some of these kids' faces and laughing and smiling and all that good stuff.
Randy, how many wound up going?
We had, was it 13? 13 and 3 counties.
No, I do not want to.
But also, I want to make sure y'all do understand, we did have 3 rededications there also. We had Nate, Kenneth, and Lily. I rededicated their lives to the Lord Jesus. Church, another thing, you know, A lot of times we see these kids as kids. But you know, they're in training. And it's up to us as a church to help lead these guys in the right direction. I mean, yeah, they can get loud and they can laugh and you go, what in the world are they laughing at? You know, and they might get on your nerves a little bit sometimes. The thing about it is, this is our future of the church right here. We have to invest time in them, which you have. You got us to camp. They was there. And it's not just a camp thing. You guys invest time in them here at this church. Me and Carrie is very, very appreciative of that. And the food, help, just the dedication y'all come to us if we need anything. We really appreciate that as youth directors here at this church. Y'all are very, very supportive and we are very, very thankful for that. Let's watch the video here
I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to come hang with these young women and men. You know, when I first got there, you know, they're all cliquey, had their little groups and all that. But by the time we left day 3, got to that evening, they were all one group. You know, it was good to see them all open up, talking, they're sharing with each other. And it was a blessing to be able to share things from my life with them. And some people know I don't get out a lot nowadays. I'm stuck at the house a lot. But it was great to be able to share things with you all. And I put together a little video about 10 minutes long. Of course, 2 hours would have been great because there was that much footage. I tried to catch everything we could, you know, to kind of show what camp was for y'all and that. So, with that being said, we'll get this rolling.
Come on up, guys. All right, David Stream, get on your feet. All right, we're going to stretch it out this morning. They're going to help me out. All right, give us a stretch. What do we got? What do we got? Toe touch. Come on, with the beat. All right, arms. Belly button stretch. Little side to side stretch. On the drop, it's just freestyle dance stretch. Whatever you got. Here we go. Come on. Whatever you got. Come on. Oh, nice. Hey, give it up for these guys. Give it up for these guys. Good job. Good job. So the gun beats gorilla if you tie my mind. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, hit it. Hit it.
Come on!
Alright guys, it's time to rotate.
Rebecca! All of them are not participating? Good. Yeah! That's my boy!
They're goofing around. They're part of the program now. They love me. They love you. They love me. They love you. Did you have fun at Camp Lone Star? No. And one thing you didn't like about Camp Lone Star, last time I was here, right? It was Halloween. So what? I got beat up? No, you didn't. Yes, I did, Smooth. Who would beat you up? Sure. Who would beat you up at Halloween? Some kids. Kids beat you up at Halloween? See, with sticks. Kids with sticks beat you up at Halloween. See, what was your costume? I was a pinata. Okay. No.
to leave it. Well, we
Well,
didn't get it. The
yeah.
last person that gets it the last day gets to leave it.
Yeah, we
But
got
tell
it.
them how people put scriptures on.
Yeah, the plunger, what they do with the toilet seat plunger is you get to decorate it your color. You get to sign it, put scriptures on it or whatever. That's what our team did. We got it, we decorated it with orange paper and painted it and put scriptures all the way down and stuff. So
They got paper stuck on the inside of that. I don't know how.
We did? What?
Yeah. Whenever we get in the boyfriend,
Oh yeah, you remember that it was the sticky stuff and it had the orange paper on the inside because
But anyway, we got to decorate the plunger, and then each time that we called a color event, somebody else had the chance to win it, or you could retain it. But at the very end, the last day, whoever won the plunger of the spirit or the toilet seat, they got to keep it, and they got to bring it back next year. So that's how that works on the games. But you know, church camp, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of games, but the main thing is Jesus. And seeing these kids here open up, you know, let things go that they've been heavy burdens on, to let it go. Just to be a kid and be able to learn about the Lord. And also be able to connect as a unit. And, you know, see some of these kids open up to shed tears, to hug on each other. Like Jeremiah said, when we first got there, they had the little cliques, and there was 3 over here, 2 over there, 1 over here. And by the last day, they were just all together, you know. And that's what we're called to do, and that's what the Lord wants us. He wants us to be together and work together as a team for His team and for His glory. That's what each one of us called to do here as a youth. No matter how old we are, we're still called to do that same thing, to be the church, to unite, to be one body in Christ. Now, thank you, church, again, for making this possible for us to go. We're extremely appreciative for it.
Next year, we'll make sure that the church sends y'all a whole case of Febreze deodorant.
We brought extra deodorant, toothbrushes and toothpaste for kids, but some kids just don't want to use it. They just wild, they just want to run and play and have fun, they forget to do everything. You wonder, they just amazing they got the clothes on, you know.
You know, Randy, one of the great things about camp, and Bible camp and everything, is this is something they'll carry with them the rest of their lives. It'll be great memories they'll have.
Yeah, like I say, you know, these kids are very fortunate to get to go to camp. There's a lot of kids out there that never get to go. I was one of those. I never went to a camp, church camp my whole life. But I started going to camp whenever I was about 21 years old. I didn't even have kids. I just volunteered to go. So my first camp experience was being a counselor. But it really opened me up to be able to see kids have fun, and I got to have just as much fun as they did. I've gotten older now, I'm 44, so I don't move like they do. I didn't even think about getting on a slip and slide, there's no way. But anyway, but like I say, we had a lot of fun, a lot of games, a lot of things, but these kids grew that week. They did for sure with the Lord. And like I said, again, I really thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to go. And also for you guys come tonight to support them and hear their testimonies and see what they learned. And for them to just be able to stand up and share their growth in Christ is awesome. And again, we thank the church for sure. Gary gave me this, should I say? Pastor Gary, you want to say anything and then close out? Or? Okay, Jesse, go ahead.
Okay. No, I remember something else. I found out something that used to be a thing back at church camp. While I was at Smyrna for their VBS, Brother Gary, do you remember Jonathan?
Uh-huh.
They went to Net Extreme whenever he was in youth, and we found out that brown used to be a color. But they banned it, and I think you can imagine why, because it's a toilet seat and a plunger. The chant they made, I forgot what the chant was that they made, but it was really funny, but they banned it because people kept making poop jokes.
We got one more.
Okay, this is anything about champ, but this is food that's left. There's I don't know how many chicken strips and biscuits back there. You want a chicken strip and some biscuits tonight for a little late night snack, and there's a couple of maybe some desserts back in the refrigerator, so we can take a little to-go box tonight if you want to.
Lots of cookies.
Yes, and there's some cookies, and I think Brother AD was going to take some tea to the Randy, yeah, shelter, and, but I just really, the chicken really needs to be ate, so.
Yeah, you get, go ahead, Troy.
I couldn't, I can't help but move my lips.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
When you started it, you was talking about this being a great church, and it is. And I tell you, not that we all don't count, but it's stand-up men like yourself and Jeremiah that take these kids up there and do that. It takes a lot out of y'all's family life. It wears you out. I took tons of them up there myself in my 30s. I didn't go either when I was young, but y'all youth ought to look at him and appreciate it.
That's right.
It takes a lot to do it. It takes a dedication and to Jesus to pull that out.
Yeah, they reward me with their smiles and just to see them grow for sure. Main reason why we need to do this. Just grow for them for sure. Well, that's it for tonight, guys. Like you said, like Miss Nita said, if y'all want some chicken or some dessert back there, y'all make sure y'all get y'all to-go box. The other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with prayer, okay? Let's go, Lord. Lord, we just thank you for this night, Lord. Thank you so much for the kids, Lord. Thank you so much for the testimony that's spoken here tonight, Lord. Lord, just thank you for the visual scene of the growth that they made while they were at camp, Lord. Lord, just thank you for this church, Lord, for just being as sufficient as they are, Lord, to meet the needs for us to all be able to go and have a good time and learn more about you, Lord. Lord, we just pray as we go out these doors, Lord, that I call it the fifth day. We all have them. What are we going to do tomorrow when we leave this building? What we learned today, we're going to take it and use it. That's the question we need to ask for each of ourselves tonight. Lord, let us grow in you daily, Lord. Lead us, guide us, and direct us in safety and in peace, and to do your will daily, Lord. Lord, we love you. We just thank you. We give you all the praise and glory. Amen.
Amen.